Hey kids, here is part 3 in writing in our journal. In our last video, we talked about things that you can write in a journal. We looked at details of your day, feelings, things you're learning, review, how-tos, and lists. Last time we looked at reviews and how-tos. This time, the first thing we're going to look at is lists. I have all kinds of lists all over my house. I have them in my journal, on my phone, on paper, everywhere. There are lots of different options you can do when you're writing lists. One of those is write down all your favorite things, everything you can think of. I wrote down some of mine. The color blue, chocolate chip cookies, flowers, especially hydrangeas, family, my students, reading, Chick-fil-A, and porch light. Those are just a couple of my favorite things. Another option is things you did today. I baked scones, I did yard work, I planted flowers, I read a book, and I cooked lunch. Or you could write things that you want to do tomorrow. I want to play the piano, call my mom, read, clean the house, bake bread, and go for a walk. These aren't the only options of types of lists you could write. You could also write a list of things that make you happy, or things that make you sad, or things you're worried about or excited for. You could write a list about what you want to be when you grow up, or a list of books you want to read, or books you have read. The options are really endless. I love writing lists. The next one we want to look at really quickly is things you are learning. I know that you are constantly learning new things. Here's a couple examples of how you could write about the things you're learning. One of them we already looked at. That's a how-to. In our last video, we talked about how to write a how-to. But here's a couple examples of things you might have learned recently that you could write a how-to about. You could write a how-to about riding a bike, tying your shoes, baking bread, or how to have reading stamina. These aren't all the options. I'm sure you've learned a lot of other new things too. Another way you could write about things you're learning is by drawing a diagram. If you've been learning about plants, you can draw a diagram of plants and then label the different parts. Underneath your diagram, you could explain what you drew and what you've been learning about it. Another option for how to write about things you're learning is by modeling a math problem. Here I've modeled 16 plus 12, breaking down that 12 into 10 and 2, and then adding those parts separately so that we finally get that 16 plus 12 is 28. These are just a couple options for how you could write about things you're learning about. There are so many options you have for how you can add to your journal. That could be details of your day, feelings that you're feeling right now or that you felt before, things you're learning, reviews, how-tos, or lists. Your options are really endless. Have fun writing!